As I said at the beginning of the semester, Java is a purely object-oriented programming language. So almost everything is some objects except the variables that are created from basic data types. As you know, we have 8 basic data types: int, short, long, byte, float, double, bool, and complex. Sorry, not complex. Char variables. Okay, we have basic that those char basic data type is one of the data types. Here we have those data types. Byte, short, int, and long are integer data types. Float and double are real number data types. Char data type is for keeping a single character, and Boolean data type is to keep a Boolean value, which can either be true or false. So if we create a variable, the variable will be one of these. Anything else is an object, okay? If we create a name, for example, or a city name or whatever, when we create a string, it will not be a primitive data type or basic data type. It will belong to a class. So today's subject is about this. Java contains a set of already built-in classes, and those classes are collected into packages. Here there are a number of packages that are in my lecture notes. Some of the packages are in java.lang, some packages are in java.util, etc., etc. Okay. Some packages are in java.mat, some in java.io. The java.lang packages, classes, are automatically imported to all Java programs. So you don't need to write anything special for these, okay? They are automatically imported. But if you use a package, if you use a class from java.util package, like scanner class, for example, you have to declare it specifically. If we look to our programs, if we have, for example, let's say this, if I want to use the scanner class, I have to put something like import java.util.scanner at the top of my program in order to be able to use the scanner class from the util package. The middle thing here, util, is the name of the package. The scanner class is part of the util package. Similarly, if I want to read from a file or write to a file, etc., I can use some IO function classes. What is IO? IO is the abbreviation of the input and output. Okay, I for input and O for output. If I want to use some mathematical methods like sine, cosine, tangent, absolute value, power, etc., etc., I need to import from math package. Similarly, we have lots of other packages. The string class is part of the java.lang. If I want to create a string object, I don't need to import anything. Here, if I have a string, for example, assume that I have a string, I don't need to write any import java.blah blah something. Okay, the string is a very frequently used class. That's why it is automatically put into the java.lang, and the java.lang package is automatically imported. If I want to use the scanner class, I can write import java.util.scanner. If I will use not only scanner, but let's say 3, 4, 5 classes from the util package, by using import java.util.asterisk, I will import all classes in the util package. If I want to import all classes in something like java.sql, for example, I can write import java.sql.asterisk. In that case, all classes will be imported to my program. This is quite simple. All you have to know is that the classes, the built-in Java classes, are distributed into packages. And you don't need to import anything from java.lang, it's automatically imported, but for others, I have to write an import declaration to import the necessary class to my program. How do we create an object? Normally, when we create an object, we have to use this kind of declaration. We have the class name, whatever the class is. We put here the class name, not the class keyword, but the name of the class, like string class, for example. Okay, let's make this slightly bigger. That's better. So if I want to create, for example, a string object, I will use the class name. First class name is written, and then the name of the object is written. It is similar to, not contra, similar to declaring a variable from basic data type. Int is the basic data type, num is a variable, string is a class, name is an object. Okay. It's not object in reality, it is reference to an object. I will explain this to you in more detail. Normally, when we create here, it is only declared, but it is not created yet. Okay. Here, num is declared and it is created, but no value is assigned. Here, the object reference is created, but no object is assigned yet to that reference. Now, let's look here. We can have, for example, num equal to 24 and name equal Kaan Ekerman, for example. Okay. Now, there is one special thing about string class. The string class has some privileges over other classes, so that normally when we create an object, the normal rule is like that. We write the class name, the object name, like string and name, okay, like this. And if I want to declare an object immediately, I have to write equal new. The new keyword gives the address of a created object. And here we write the constructor name and then arguments. What's a constructor? Constructor is a method in that class, okay, is a special method of the class, which is used to create an object. I will explain this to you in much more detail in the last 2-3 weeks, and you will see also quite extensively in CS102 course, in the continuation of this course at second year. The constructor name and class name are always same. Let me open here a car class. Here I have a class definition, public class car. This doesn't have any main method. This is an object class. This is not an application class. This is an object class. I have my object class. Every car object will have some attributes, and here I have my constructor. This is the class, public class car, and here public car. This car is not class name, this is constructor name. Constructor is a method which is used to create an object. This creates an object, okay, and gives back an object. And by using the new keyword, we get here, this gives me an object, okay, creates an object and gives it back to me, and new gives its address. Assume that I have, for example, this. What happens when Java compiles this program or this program line? It creates a name variable in the memory. Assume that this is memory, and when this is compiled, num is placed to memory location 1000, memory location 01, blah blah. Num is at, assume that memory location 1000, and assume that name is placed to memory location 1004. Why did I put 4 difference? Because an int variable occupies 4 bytes. So this will occupy bytes 1000, 1001, 2, 3, only 4 bytes. This occupies 4 bytes. So the next byte available is 1004. That's why I put the name to here. Okay. Assume this is the case. When we have this statement, the Java compiler will create the this string object somewhere in the memory. Assume that it is placed to memory location 1200. Okay. So here in the name variable or name object place, name reference, it will put the address of the real object. The real object is at this location in the memory. So the name object reference will contain the address of the real object. The real object is somewhere in the memory, but this name is not the real object itself. It is reference to an object. It is not like this primitive data type. Num just contains really 24, but name doesn't contain Kane Kerman. It contains an address or memory location, the address of the memory location where the real object resides. So this is a reference. This is a variable which contains some value. When I have, for example, int num2 and name2, one other integer variable and one other name object, and then when I say num equal to num, num2 equal to num, assign the value of num to num2, and assign the object name to name2, what happens? When we have this statement, this 24 is copied here, okay, to num2. Assume that num2 is at location, memory location 1020, and assume that name2 is at location 1024. So similarly, since the value of num location, which contains at least memory location, there is 24, it is copied to this memory location, and that reference name contains a reference 1200 is copied to name2. So in reality, now name2 is also is a reference to the same object which is located at 1200. Okay. So now two different object names, name and name2, both refer to the one and same single object in the memory. Later on, what I can do, I can write, for example, num is equal to Halil. Then in that case, assume that at another location, let's say 1400, there is an object that is created and put here, Halil. What happens? What is an object is created, okay? The string object is created. And it is its address is assigned to num. So here, this will not be 1200 anymore. This will be 1400 because Halil, this string object which contains Halil is located here. So now they are different. But before that statement, both contained they both contain the reference of the same object. So name and name2 are two different references to the same single object. Okay, it's not duplicated, but here the value is duplicated. Okay, num has 24 and num2 is also have 24. We can also change later on num to 16. So what will happen? This will contain 16. Similarly, after this object is created somewhere in the memory, and its address is put to sorry, not num. I made a mistake. Sorry, I apologize. It should be name. Okay, I assign Halil to name. I apologize. I thought I had written name. So of course, I have to put a semicolon. So this is how it works. When we create an object, normally we should write new constructor. So normally I should write, let's copy this, Control C, let's go here. Normally I should write new string and like this. All other objects are created with new and the constructor name, which is the same as the class name. But since strings are used so extensively, the Java language committee made an exception for strings, and instead of specifying it like that, they allowed to use it like this. Okay. In order to save some typing, you don't need to type these characters. You can directly write it like this. This is only valid for strings. For all other classes, you have to write new the constructor name, which is same as the string name, the class name, and between the parentheses some arguments to create an object. Is this understood? Here the explanations are about this. I have explained here, for example, I have a reference. It's not the object Kane Kerman is not stored into the name object. Name object contains a reference to the real object. Okay. So we can either write like with new Java, new string, and then between the parentheses a string, or we can directly write it like this. This is just an exception to string class, as I said before. So we can directly assign some strings to string objects by using directly a string after the equal sign. Here we have some aliases, etc. So name 1 is Ingrid Bergman, name 2 is Alexander Fleming. When we say name 2 is equal to name 1, then the Ingrid Bergman's address, the address or the reference that is in name 1 is copied to name 2, so both are referring to the same object. Okay. In Java, multiple reference variables or multiple objects can refer to the same object. Here, the name 1, string name 1, and string name 2 were initially referring to different objects, but when we write name 2 is equal to name 1, the reference in name 1 is copied to reference in name 2, so both now refer to Ingrid Bergman string. Any questions about this so far? Okay, then we can start the string class. String is the object class that we will use most after the integers and floats, etc. The most frequently used things will be strings. Let's write string my str equal Antalya. Now we have created a string. Okay. What can we do about strings? First of all, we can get the length of a string. How do I get length of the string? Int len is equal to I have my string my str dot length with parentheses. The length method together with the string object gives the number of characters in that string. How many characters are there here? There are 7 characters. So with this, I will get the value 7. Okay. My object is my str. My str.length will give me the length of this string. If I have, for example, another string S1 is equal to Paris, Paris, as they say in French. So if I use, for example, something like int n is equal to len plus s1 dot length, s1 dot length will give me the length of the string object s1. How many characters are there in this string? There are 5. So we will get 5. From here we will get 7. So here we will have something like 7 plus 5. The s1 dot length will be 5. Another thing that we can do with strings is just concatenate these strings. I can have another string s2 is equal to my str plus s1. So what will happen? It will just concatenate these two strings. We had Antalya first. In my str contains Antalya and s1 contains Paris. So the result string will be the first string and then the second string concatenated to the first string. Okay. So we have the plus operator is not only addition operator between numbers, but it is also string concatenation operator between strings. One advantageous thing about, let's put here int plate code equals 7. I have an integer variable. In Java, when we create a string A07, let's name it like this. This is my string name, my string object name. I can have here my str, which is Antalya, plus an integer value. Plate code is integer. Let's put it here. We can do this in Java. If one of the operands of the plus operator is a string, the first one here is a string, then Java automatically converts the other one to string as well. So from plate code, which is 7, it creates what will happen? Then 1 second, my phone is ringing. Excuse me. Şu anda iyiyim. Dersteydim hocam. Ben sizi bir yarım saat 45 dakika sonra arayayım mı? Çünkü yani saat 5'te bitecek. Yani ben saat 4'ten 5'e kadar. Sağ olun. Ben arar sizi, görüşürüm hocam. Sağ olun. Hoşça kalın. Sağ olun. Okay. So my str is Antalya. And what is plate code? It is 7. But since the string concatenation operator has a non-string entity at one side and string entity at the other side, then it converts for example, this integer is converted to a string. Okay, so in reality, it performs this operation. So what we get this. Okay, the result will be something like that. This is a nice thing about strings in Java. You don't need to worry about conversion of an integer when you want to concatenate an integer to a string, or if this can be a not integer but double, then the result will be 7.0. If you store 7 to a double variable, the value will be 7.0. Okay. So this is one thing. Another very important thing is to get a character from a string. Let's change this to city. It is more difficult to write my str. So I want to get a specific character at positions, and the positions start with 0. If I have something like this, the positions are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there are 7 characters. The position of the first character is position 0. The second character is at position 1, and then any other character has some position number starting from 0. So I can get individual characters from a string. How can I get a specific character from a string? Let's say char ch equal. I want to get a specific character from this one. Assume that I have int idx for index is equal to 4. I can get a specific character by using char at. Caret method is a string class method which is used to get a single character from a string, okay, from the position idx. But of course, this value must be a valid index, okay? If we give a value like 8, there is no character with index 8. It is from 0 to 6 for Antalya, for a string which has 7 characters, okay? So this will, I will get an error here. But for that one, no problem. What is the character with index 4? It is L. From here, I will get L. As you know, when we have a character in Java, the characters are delimited with single quotation mark. The strings are written between double quotation mark, but the characters are written between single quotation mark. So length is used to get the length of the number of characters in a string. Caret method is used to get a single character from a string. And they are always used with the object. Object name dot the method name. Like here, where is this? Like here, okay? Of course, city.length or s1.length to get the number of characters in those string objects, and .caret is used to get a single character at a given index position from a string. If we have two variables, two integer variables, int a, comma b, etc., etc., it has some values. We can write an if statement to compare if a greater than b, or if a equals b, etc. But we cannot compare objects like that, okay? We can compare integers or doubles or floats, etc. But we cannot compare two objects with by using greater than or equal. Assume I have two string objects. Let's copy this. String city. Let's go here. City 1 is Antalya, city 2 is, let's say, Izmir. Now I want to compare if the objects have same, if two strings are equal, okay? It could be as well Antalya here or something else. So how can I compare if two strings are equal? In order to compare two strings are equal or not, we use the equals method. How do we use it? If city1 dot equals between the parentheses the other object. Okay. Here I don't write any greater than, less than, blah blah. Equals returns true if all characters, if in the object string is equal to the parameter string. Okay, if the characters of city1 are exactly same as the characters of city2, like Antalya and Antalya, then I will get true. If there is at least one character on Zalya, then it will return to me false. Okay. Here, in this case, Antalya, Antalya, this city1 equals city2, that equals between parentheses city2 will give me false. But if all the characters are exactly same and the length is same, then it will give me true. If there is some space characters here, for example, one space character, some extra space character here, but no space character at the end of this, then I will get false when I compare these two strings. Okay. So equals is just used to compare if all characters are same or not. If all characters are same, the equals method returns true if at least there is one character extra or different or whatever. If they are not exactly same, then it will return false. So if they are the same, we can write, for example, system dot out dot println strings are exactly same. Okay, I can write something like that. Otherwise, else, let's copy this program segment here. Are not exactly the same. So by using equals, we can compare two strings. If I want to compare two strings case insensitively, for example, if I have Antalya here, all in uppercase in second one, equals will give me false. Why? Here there is lowercase n, here there is uppercase n. This makes case sensitive. This checks for case sensitive equality. Okay. But if I want to compare case insensitively, what I do, instead of using this, I will use equals ignore case. There is another version of equals, which is equals ignore case, which checks if the strings are equal case insensitively. Okay? Which means that all lowercase and uppercase n will be treated as equal, all lowercase t and uppercase t equal, all lowercase a and uppercase a, l, y, etc. will be treated as equal. Here we can have 07. Of course, all non-alphabetic characters must be same. Okay, but all alphabetic characters are checked case insensitively in the case of using when we use equals ignore case. I do not want to just check for equality, but I want to check for example, let's say Ankara. If for being lexically greater than or less than. What is lexically greater than or less than? For example, A and A are same, N and N are same. When we compare, the difference is here T and K. If you compare T and K, which is before and which is after? K is before, Antalya is after. Therefore, we can say that Ankara, when we compare Ankara and Antalya, here the first two characters are same, but when we come to the different character, which is the third character, T is greater than K, is after K. Therefore, this string is greater than this. Okay. The number of characters has nothing to do in the comparison. We just check the character by characters inside. So here we have T, which has a greater code than ASCII code than K. Therefore, this string is greater than this. If I had, for example, Antalya, something like that, this has more characters, 7 characters. This has 6 characters, but here the different characters are the third character, which is A here, K here. A is before K, therefore Analyat is less than Ankara. Okay. Here we can have many other characters. The difference is here at the third character, and K is after A, therefore Ankara is greater than Analyat ZZZ. How do I compare for greater than, less than, etc. So we will write something similar to this one. I will just copy this one. Instead of equals, we will use compare to. Compare to, but when we use compare to, we can compare the two strings for checking if the first one is greater than the second one or less than, etc. So here we can write greater than 0. I will just copy this line. Sorry. Greater than 0, greater or equal to 0. I can write less than 0, less or equal to 0, equal 0. But instead of using equal 0, I can use equals. This is similar to this one. Okay, this checks for equality, and this checks for not equality. So this means that city 1 is lexically greater than city 2. And similarly, let's put here this comment. Let's copy these here. Greater or equal, less than. Just copy the operator here, comparison operator, less or equal to city. They are equal and not equal. Of course, we cannot compare objects using these operators. I'm just giving this descriptions, this part, just to show you how it compares. If I want to compare and check if city 1 is lexically before city 2, after city 2 is greater than city 2 lexically, then I use greater than 0, which means that city 1 is lexically greater than city 2, or in dictionary it will happen after city 2. If it is equal or after city 2, we can use greater or equal to 0, etc., etc. Okay. If I want to compare case insensitively, compare to compares case sensitively. So uppercase T and lowercase t are different. But if I want to treat for letter characters, the uppercase and lowercase as same, then we use compare to ignore case. Okay. I want to add two strings. String S1 is equal to up. String S2 is equal to ba. If I make, for example, something like string S3 is equal to, I can add S1 plus S2. Okay. Now, what will I will get? I'll get Abba. I can also do it in a different way. What I can do, let's take this. I can say S1 dot concat S2. So S1 dot concat S2 will perform a similar operation. It will not create, it will not change S1. Concat returns a new string. Let's read this line. Returns a new string consists of this string, which is before the method. This is with S1 object, we use the concat method. So this string means S1, or the object string is S1. This is the subject string. Okay, so str is concatenated to the object string. Okay? So this is equivalent to this one. Of course, it is easier to write plus, but from traditionally at the beginning of the Java, it would not be possible to write it like that. Maybe that's why they have put concat. But nowadays we don't need concat method. We can just get the same result using the plus operator, string concatenation operator. Replace. If I want to replace in a string all occurrences of a specific character by another character, then we can do it by using the replace method. Assume we have our city one, Antalya. Let's take this one here. I want to replace all lowercase a with some other characters. So what I do, let's read the definition. Returns a new string. It's identical with the object string or this string, except that every occurrence of old car, there are two parameters. The first parameter is a character parameter. The second parameter is a character parameter. It replaces all the occurrences of the old character with the new character. What do we mean? Let's say string S7 is equal to city one dot replace all, of course, characters are written with single quotation mark. Replace all occurrences of lowercase a with lowercase e. So what will happen? Our string Antalya is taken and all a, lowercase a, is replaced with e. So here we have lowercase a replaced with e. So we'll have Antalya. Okay. Of course, the string may be quite long. We can have here many other characters, etc. Don't think that it will be a short string. It may be a long string. So the replace method replaces all occurrences of the first character with all occurrences of the with second character. Okay, all occurrences of the first character are replaced with the second character. Here, both this a and this a are replaced. What we can do, we can get part of a string. Okay. Assume that I want to get, for example, the last 4 characters. Now, let's remind us the index of the characters. What is the index of the first character? It is 0. The next character has index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to get all characters starting from character with index 3. So what do? I will just write, for example, something like string a1 is equal to city1 is my object string. Substring is used to get part of a string. And substring can have either one value, one offset, or one offset and index. So it can have either one argument or 2 arguments. Okay, there are 2 variations of it. If I say here, for example, 3, so starting from character with index 3, which is a, this a, as at index 3, I will get the rest of the string. So I will get Alya. We can also have 2 parameters. Sorry. 3, 5. So start with index 3, but stop when we come to index 5. 3 is inclusive, start with 3, but 5 is exclusive. So 3 and 4, the characters with index 3 and 4 will be taken. It will give me just al. Okay. Start with index 3, go to the end. If I only put one index value, then it starts with from that index, takes all the characters till the end of the string. If I give a second index, then it starts with this index, but stops when it comes to the second index. Second index is exclusive. It is not used. It just stops before that one. If it is 5, it will stop at index 4. Are these clear? Okay, I will continue with lowercase, uppercase, etc. next week, because on Thursday you will get the first quiz. You probably have noticed in LMS some announcement about the quizzes. Let's close editing off. The quiz will be done Thursday at 6 o'clock. If you wish, I can start a session to answer your questions at 5 o'clock, because normally our lecture on Thursday starts at 5 o'clock. I will do the quiz from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, from 18 hours to 19 hours. And everything, including the static methods, are included to the quiz. So today's lecture, the strings, the classes and strings are not included in the first quiz. If you wish, I can start. I can do a half an hour lecture on Thursday just to answer your questions. I will not explain anything new, because at 6 o'clock you will get the quiz. And in order to get the quiz, you will go here and click on this one, okay? Here you will get, you will go here and click on a link. And since I'm the instructor, I can edit the quiz, add questions, etc. I haven't prepared the quiz yet, but on Thursday, the quiz will be, of course, ready. And you will go here and click on a link and start the quiz. And the quiz will end at 7 o'clock in the afternoon. So you have 1 hour time. If you start 10 minutes late, you will only get 50 minutes. Okay, so I advise you not to start the quiz late. Any question?